Wow, what an episode last night of The Walking Dead. Um, I've been a fan for years, and I started reading the comic books back in the day, and so I'm pretty familiar with the story. And I've been waiting for the storyline to really, start making some movement. I thought the last two seasons were just really atrocious. I didn't like them at all, but finally something happens. Finally, so man, I've seen some people saying, "Oh, it was so violent and horrible." Hey, I watched Game of Thrones, great show on HBO, and I really wish The Walking Dead was produced and shown on HBO, and then they could really, I mean, dude, it's way worse than the comic books. My heavens! So, if it was made and produced by HBO, I'm convinced that it would be significantly different, more violent, just crazy, just the way it is. I mean, HBO can do stuff like that. But what a great show. Um, you guys all know my buddy Nathan Filbert, one of the funniest, greatest dudes ever. I mean, he's been abducted by aliens. He has an implant in his neck, according to him. He believes in the ancient aliens came, and that's what helped humans build the pyramids, etc., etc. All technologies have come from aliens. When X Files was on TV, he was in his God Almighty, he was in his prime. He couldn't get enough of it. I mean, he's picked Sasquatch up while Sasquatch was hitchhiking, and Filbert picked him up and gave him a ride. Huh? But says that's happened, and I mean he believes in the Loch Ness monster. I mean you name some legendary myth or creature, folks. I mean he's a practicing Catholic. So I mean he's a religious fellow, and he's a true believer, and he really is. He's a good man. He's a great father, and um, so he's a good dude. So I don't want anybody to think he's just off the hook insane, but he believes that when the three wise men were going to being led to Jesus by the star in the sky, that was no star, folks. That was an alien spaceship guiding them. No shit. So Philly to Gumbo's kind of, he's got some little. Some of his thoughts are not in tune with the rest of us, but nonetheless, one of my best friends I've ever had in my whole life. I've known him since sixth grade. I love him and would do anything for him. But he also believes in this legendary creature, and apparently, there's a lot of people that believe in these, that there's these huge catfish in the Ohio River by one of the dams or one of the locks and dams, and because the water comes through there, that these massive catfish have sat on the bottom of the river for years and just had food basically sucked through their mouths into their belly, and they're just these massive, huge creatures that sit on the bottom of the river that are hundreds of pounds, huge catfish. So, Philly believes in these. So, I can't remember the exact date. I'm going to say 8 years ago. It's about when this happened, maybe 2008. I was coaching, I coached sports at St. Ben's for 10 straight years. I mean, you name a sport, I coached it for girls or boys. And I was at one of my kids' practices, and I don't remember whose, and I don't remember which sport, but I get a phone call, and it's Nathan. It's about 11 o'clock in the morning. He's like, "Oh man, I'm down on the river shaw. I've hooked a huge fish. Oh man, I've got two of the boys." At this time, I think he just had two boys. So he's like, "I got the boys with me. Can you get down here and get us some food?" And so I've had this fish on for He's like, I've had this fish on for about 2.5 hours. It's huge. He's like, I didn't bring, we ate something this morning and we had some water, but we've drank the water, I've ate it. I had no clue I'd hooked this fish. I'm like, yeah, man, okay. I said, I can't come right now. I'm at practice. I was like, let me call Biscuit Lips and see what he's doing. Old Billy Kane, old Billy Biscuit Lips. He lived down in downtown Newburgh at the time, right by Crickets. So I gave him a holler. I was like, explain the situation to him. And so he went and got some food and some drinks and whatnot and took it down to him. And about maybe an hour later, he gives me a call. He's like, man, Shaw, he's like, Philly's hooked him a big fish. He's like, I was down there for a half hour. He was fighting it. It was all over, and the boys are down there. I fed him. He's like, they're in good shape. He's like, he's gonna call me when he gets this fish in. So Bill was going to do something else. So um, about I go throughout my day. I think it was a Saturday, so I was watching some sports or doing stuff with the kids in the yard. I don't remember the rest of the day, but right around 6 o'clock, 6 in the evening, I get this call, and it's Philly. And his voice, I'm thinking, man, Philly, something's wrong. I immediately thought, like, I was concerned. I was like, did he get in a car wreck? I was like, did something happen? What happened? Did something happen to one of the boys? Was there an accident? I didn't know. Um, but he was like, oh, Shaw, God, you got to get down here, man. I'm begging you. I was like, get down where? He's like, dude, I'm still at the river. I got this fish on. He goes, I can't fight it anymore. He's like, I'm starving. I was like, dude, it's 6 o'clock. You had that fish on today. I was like, he's since 9 this morning. He's like, dude, I've been fighting it for 9 hours. I fell in the river. I was covered in mud and gunk. I've had to take my clothes off. All I got my sandals and underwear. He's like, people have been looking at me. He's like, I can't give this fish up. I've had it for hours. He's like begging me, pleading with me to come down. He's like, the kids are here still. Corey's all mad at me. I don't have any food for the kids, drinks. Can you bring us some stuff? And I'm like, all right, dude. Yeah, I'm coming down. So I call Kane. I'm like, Kane, I'm coming through. I'm gonna pick some stuff up at Subway. I'll grab you. We'll go down to Philly and the boys on the river. So I stop at Subway, get us all some food, some drinks. Pick up Billy downtown Newburgh. Go down to the river, park. We come up on Philly. It's like post-apocalyptic, folks. I mean, it looks or like from the Great Depression. I mean, he is down there in his underwear, his boxers. He is covered from head to toe in grime and mud. He looks awful. I mean, it's no wonder people have been. It's amazing that the police had not been called on him yet or anything. The kids are filthy from head to toe. I mean, he is the just the epitome. If you looked at exhaustion in the dictionary, it was this picture of Filbert in his underwear with this fishing pole and his sandals on. So I get the boys over. I give them something to eat, some drinks, and we go over. I mean, Filbert gets the food and drink. He collapses. I mean, falls down on the ground. He just falls. He's totally exhausted. 9 hours fighting this fish. Kane gets the pole. Kane starts fighting. He's like, man, he's like, Jesus. He's like, immediately Kane's like, this is a big fish. And I'm talking to Filbert, and Kane, just a few minutes later, within 2 minutes, Kane's like, you know what, man? He's like, Philly. He's like, dude, brother, I hate to break it to you, I don't think this is a fish. He's like, dude, I think you're hooked onto this big tree limb out here in the river. And right there, off in the river, is a limb. And we end up determining that Filbert has been hooked on to a tree limb in the Ohio River since 9 in the fucking morning. And he has fought it to the point of exhaustion, thinking that he had this legendary catfish on. And the funny thing is, man, me and Kane, we had bought into it. We believed. When I picked Kane up, I was like, I picked him up, and with that food before we headed down, I was like, Biscuit, man, wouldn't it be crazy if Philly Gumbo pulls a massive catfish out of the Ohio River? I mean, our buddy that believes in all these legendary things, from Bigfoot to, leprechauns, for crying out loud. So, wouldn't it have been something? But basically, that is the legends, That's how legends start. Philly fought this fish for 9 hours. Lo and behold, it's no fish. It's a tree limb. So that is a wrap on this shit show. And remember, Sergeant Cass and Sergeant Peralta must receive the Medal of Honor. All right, have a good day, folks. Bye.